6 hours had passed since anyone had seen Jiwoo. Hyunwoo paced outside the administrative office, his stomach twisted in knots. Something was wrong. Detention shouldn't take this long. He had tried calling her personal device 3 times. No answer. Finally, he pushed through the doors and approached the front desk. The administrator was a tall, thin creature with too many joints in its arms. It looked up at him with what might have been annoyance. "I need to report a missing student," Hyunwoo said, trying to keep his voice calm. "Human female named Jiwoo. She was taken by Vrin security 6 hours ago and hasn't returned." The administrator's skin changed color slightly. A pattern Hyunwoo had learned meant displeasure. Security matters are not administrative concerns. If the guards are handling the situation, then it is being handled. She was supposed to be in detention, not disappeared. Hyunwoo leaned on the desk. "Check your systems, please." With a sound like air escaping, the administrator turned to its console. Long fingers moved across the display. Then they stopped. The color change happened again. Different this time. Confusion maybe, or concern. "There is no record of any detention order for this student," it said slowly. "And no report filed by Vrin security for the incident in the cafeteria." "What does that mean?" "It means I am contacting station security immediately." The administrator's fingers moved faster now. "Please wait here." 15 minutes later, Hyunwoo was in a security office surrounded by screens showing different parts of the station. A Vrin commander stood beside him, watching footage from the cafeteria. The commander's name was Kelrix, and unlike the guards who had taken Jiwoo, he seemed professional and concerned. "There," Commander Kelrix pointed at the screen. "Guards Thorum, Vex, and Growl respond to the incident. Standard procedure so far. They escort the human student toward detention sector." The screens switched to corridor cameras following the guards and Jiwoo through the station. But then something strange happened. The footage showed them entering Corridor 7 Delta. Then the screen went black. "What happened to the feed?" Hyunwoo asked, unknown. "There appears to be a gap in recording." Commander Kelrix's clawed hand moved across the controls. 47 minutes of missing footage. This should not be possible. "Our systems have redundant backups." The screen flickered back to life. The timestamp showed 47 minutes later. The corridor was empty, no guards. No Jiwoo, just an empty hallway with flickering lights. Where did they go? Hyunwoo felt cold despite the station's controlled temperature. "Rewind it. Check other cameras." They checked every camera near Corridor 7 Delta. None of them showed the guards leaving. None showed Jiwoo. It was like they had simply vanished into nothing. Commander Kelrix turned to face Hyunwoo fully. The Vrin's yellow eyes glowed brighter, which Hyunwoo had learned meant intense focus. "I am placing the station on alert level 3. No one leaves until we find them. All of them. You think something happened to your guards too? 3 Vrin warriors do not simply disappear," Commander Kelrix said firmly. "And neither does their prisoner. Something else is happening here." Within an hour, the entire station knew something was wrong. Classes were canceled. Students were ordered to remain in their quarters. Security teams searched every corridor, every room, every maintenance shaft. They found nothing. Hyunwoo couldn't stay in his quarters. He paced the hallway outside until a stern security officer told him to get inside or face detention himself. Instead, he went to the human embassy section of the station. Director Minho was already there, and he was furious. He was a short man with gray hair and eyes that looked like they could cut through steel. When Hyunwoo explained what had happened, Director Minho's expression went from angry to dangerous. They took a 16-year-old girl into an area with no cameras, and now everyone's missing. His voice was quiet, but Hyunwoo could hear the rage underneath. "Get me Commander Kelrix now." The meeting happened in a secure conference room. Commander Kelrix brought footage, scan data, and incident reports. Director Minho brought Earth's legal documentation and barely controlled fury. "Let me be extremely clear," Director Minho said, his hands flat on the table. "If any harm has come to that girl, Earth will consider this an act of war. Director, we are searching. Your people took her. Your surveillance mysteriously failed, and now everyone involved has vanished." Director Minho leaned forward. "From where I'm sitting, this looks like your guards did something they shouldn't have. And now you're covering it up. I assure you, the Vrin honor code would never." "Honor codes don't disable security cameras," Director Minho interrupted. "Find her. Find your guards. And find answers. You have 24 hours before I contact Earth Command and the Galactic Council." After the meeting, Hyunwoo caught up with Director Minho in the hallway. Sir, I want to help search for her. Absolutely not. This is now a diplomatic incident. Director Minho rubbed his eyes. He looked exhausted. The last thing I need is another human student going missing. Sir, please. She's my friend. I can't just sit in my quarters doing nothing. Director Minho studied him for a long moment. Then he pulled out a data pad and handed it over. This is the station schematic. The official one they give to humans. It's incomplete. There are entire sections they don't show visitors. Service tunnels, maintenance areas, old construction zones. If I were hiding something, that's where I'd hide it. You're telling me to search anyway. I'm telling you to be careful. And if you find anything, contact me immediately. Director Minho put a hand on his shoulder. Bring her home, Hyunwoo. Back in the main corridors, investigation teams continued their work. Hyunwoo watched as they used scanning equipment in Corridor 7 Delta. One of the technicians, a being that looked like a floating collection of tentacles, made a sound of surprise. Commander, you need to see this. Hyunwoo moved closer, trying to look casual. The technician was pointing at the wall with one tentacle. Under special light, marks appeared. Burn marks, lots of them. Plasma weapon discharge, the technician said. Multiple impacts. Pattern suggests a struggle. Commander Kelrix examined the marks closely. These are from Vrin weapons. Guard-issue plasma batons. They were fighting something here, another technician added. Or someone. Hyunwoo felt sick. Had Jiwoo tried to fight them? She was one person against 3 trained warriors. There was no way she could have won that fight. Unless... His thoughts were interrupted by another shout from deeper in the corridor. Security teams were gathering around something near a waste recycling unit. Hyunwoo tried to get closer, but a guard blocked his path. Through the crowd, he could see them pulling something from the recycler. Pieces of dark armor. Vrin armor. It was cracked and torn like something massive had ripped it apart. Get bioscans of this entire area, Commander Kelrix ordered. I want to know what happened here. The bioscans took another hour. Hyunwoo waited nearby, his heart pounding. Finally, a technician approached Commander Kelrix with results. We found traces of Vrin hemolymph in multiple locations, the technician reported. 3 different genetic signatures matching guards Thorum, Vex, and Grail. And the human? No human DNA detected anywhere in the corridor. That didn't make sense. If there had been a fight, if the guards had attacked Jiwoo, there should be blood. Her blood. But there was nothing except Vrin blood and broken Vrin armor. Commander Kelrix turned to his security team. Expand the search to the entire station. Check medical facilities, morgues, holding cells. Find those guards and find that human. As the teams dispersed, Hyunwoo returned to his quarters. His hands were shaking. What had happened in that corridor? Where was Jiwoo? The evidence made no sense. 3 professional warriors, armed and armored, had entered with an unarmed teenage girl. 47 minutes later, the warriors were gone, and so was she. Their armor was destroyed. Their blood was on the walls, but Jiwoo had left no trace at all. His personal device buzzed. A message from an unknown sender. His heart jumped as he opened it. The message was short, just 5 words. Don't look for me. They learned. It was signed with a single letter. Jae Hyunwoo stared at the message. Jiwoo was alive. She had to be. But what did they learned mean? Learned what? He thought about the destroyed armor, the blood, the missing guards, and he thought about what humans were capable of when they were cornered and afraid, about what happened when a creature from a Deathworld, a world where everything tried to kill you every day, was pushed into a corner by predators who didn't understand what they were dealing with. Humans had evolved on Earth where the gravity crushed. The sun burned, the bacteria infected, and the predators hunted. They had evolved to survive despite everything trying to end them. They had evolved to fight back. The galaxy thought of humans as primitives from a dangerous world. Interesting curiosities, weak creatures who somehow survived through luck. But maybe the galaxy had it backwards. Maybe humans weren't lucky survivors. Maybe they were apex predators who had faced, worse than anything the civilized galaxy could imagine. And maybe 3 Vrin guards had learned that lesson in Corridor 7 Delta. Hyunwoo looked at the message again. He should report it to Director Minho. Should tell security that Jiwoo was alive somewhere. But the message said don't look for her. For now, he would wait. But he would also prepare. The Vrin warship arrived 3 days after the incident. It was massive, bristling with weapons, and made every other ship near the station look like toys. Commander Kelrix watched it dock through the observation window and felt a weight settle in his chest. This was about to get much worse. High Commander Vrath emerged from the warship with an escort of 20 warriors. Each one was bigger than the station guards, wearing full combat armor that made them look like walking tanks. Vrath himself was legendary among the Vryn, a veteran of 30 campaigns, a warrior who had never lost a fight. He marched into the security office without waiting for an invitation. His yellow eyes blazed as he looked at Commander Kelrix. "My warriors were found beaten and broken," Vrath said, his voice like grinding stones. "And you tell me a human child did this? The evidence suggests the evidence is impossible." Vrath slammed a fist on the desk, denting the metal. "Vryn warriors are trained from birth. They are the finest soldiers in the galaxy. 3 of them could not be defeated by one untrained civilian from a primitive world." Commander Kelrix pulled up the footage and scanned data on the main screen. The corridor had no cameras operational during the incident, but we found their armor destroyed, their blood on the walls, and no trace of the human student except for her clothing fibers. The medical team confirms all 3 guards fought something and lost. Then something else happened, Vrath insisted. Another species. Hidden weapons. Some trick. "Sir, with respect, the evidence—" "I don't care about your evidence." Vrath turned to face the screen showing the station. "Find that human." "Find her now. If she lives, she will answer for what she did. If she's dead, we will find her body. Either way, the Vryn High Command demands justice." In the human quarters, Hunwu watched the news feeds with growing dread. The Vryn were offering a reward for information about Jiwoo. Students were being questioned. Every section of the station was being searched again, this time by Vryn soldiers instead of regular security. Someone knocked on his door. He opened it to find Director Minho standing there, looking exhausted. "We need to talk," the director said, stepping inside and closing the door behind him. "About Jiwoo." "I don't know where she is," Hyunwoo said immediately. "I know. But you got a message from her, didn't you?" Director Minho pulled out a data pad. "Don't look surprised. I've been monitoring all human communications since this started. It's for your protection." Hyunwoo felt his face flush. "She told me not to look for her." "Smart girl." Director Minho sat down heavily. "The Vryn think she killed those guards. We both know she didn't because the guards are alive. But they don't care about that. They care about the humiliation. 3 of their finest warriors defeated by a human teenager. That's not supposed to be possible. But it happened. Yes. And that changes everything." Director Minho pulled up files on his data pad. "I've been doing research. Classified research from Earth military. Do you know what happens when humans fight in low-gravity environments?" Hyunwoo shook his head. "We become exponentially more dangerous. Our muscles developed under 1 full gravity of pressure. Here at 0.7 gravity, we're effectively stronger, faster, more agile. Our reflexes seem superhuman to other species. Add in adrenaline response, and we become something the civilized galaxy has never seen before." Director Minho looked up. "The Vryn made a terrible mistake. They cornered a predator. So what do? We find her before they do. Because if the Vryn find her first, they won't take her to trial. They'll kill her to save face." Director Minho handed over a data pad. "This is unrestricted station schematics. Every tunnel, every passage, every forgotten corner. If you're going to search for her, do it right." Hyunwoo took the data pad. "You're asking me to disobey station orders. I'm asking you to save your friend's life." Director Minho stood. "You have 72 hours. After that, the Galactic Council convenes to discuss this incident. If we don't have answers by then, Earth could be expelled from galactic society. No pressure." After the director left, Hyunwoo studied the schematics. The station was massive, much bigger than he had realized. Entire sections were marked as maintenance only or decommissioned. How could he possibly search all of it? Another knock. This time it was Nari, a human engineering student he knew from classes. She pushed past him into the room without waiting for an invitation. "I know what you're planning," she said, "and you're going to need help. How do you—" "Please. I've seen you sneaking around asking questions about station layouts." Nari pulled out her own data pad. "Plus I hacked the security feeds. Not hard, their encryption is decades old. I saw Director Minho visit you, so either you're in trouble or you're planning something stupid. Probably the second one. If you know so much, do you know where Jiwoo is?" Nari grinned. "Not yet, but I know how to find her." Come on. She led him to the engineering lab, where massive holographic displays showed station systems. Power grid, life support, water distribution, everything. Look, Nari pointed at the power consumption graph. See these sections here? They're marked as offline, but there's still power drain. Not much, just enough for basic life support and water. Someone's hiding in the decommissioned areas. That could be anyone. Maintenance workers, other students. In the high-gravity, high-oxygen sections. Nari pulled up environmental controls. These areas are set to Earth normal conditions. They're for visiting Deathworld species. Most aliens avoid them because the gravity is too strong and the air is too rich. But for a human, it would feel like home. Hyunwoo stared at the display. Nari was right. It was brilliant. Jiwoo was hiding in the one place most species couldn't comfortably go. There are 3 possible locations, Nari said, highlighting them on the map. 2 are near the industrial sector. 1 is near the old research wing. We should split up. No. Hyunwoo shook his head. If the Vrin catch us searching, we'll both be in trouble. I'll go. You stay here and monitor security feeds. If anyone gets close to these locations, warn me. Nari looked like she wanted to argue, but nodded. Fine, but take this. She handed him a small device. It's a signal jammer. If you find her, activate it. It'll block any tracking or recording devices within 10 meters for about 5 minutes. Should be enough time to talk without anyone knowing. The first location was a bust, just empty storage rooms and dust. The second location was more promising. Hyunwoo found signs someone had been there. An opened ration pack. Water dispenser showing recent usage, but no Jiwoo. The third location was in the old research wing, an area that had been abandoned when the station expanded decades ago. The gravity here was higher, pulling at Hyunwoo's body in a way that felt almost normal, almost like Earth. He found her in what used to be an observation room. She was sitting on the floor, staring out a window at the stars. She looked tired, small, nothing like the monster the station security was hunting for. Jiwoo, he said softly. She spun around, hands coming up defensively. Then she recognized him and relaxed, but only slightly. You shouldn't be here. Neither should you. Well, technically, you should be in your quarters going to class being a normal student. Hyunwoo sat down across from her. Instead, you're hiding like a criminal. I am a criminal. Her voice was flat. I attacked 3 security guards. Put them in the hospital. They attacked you first. The Deltarian was a witness. Everyone saw what happened in the cafeteria. Not in the corridor. Jiwoo pulled her knees to her chest. No one saw that. Just me and them and what I did. What did you do? She told him, all of it. The fight, the fear, the way her body had moved without her conscious control, the destroyed armor, the broken bones, the blood. When she finished, Hyunwoo was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, they were going to hurt you. Kill you, maybe. You defended yourself. That's not a crime. I broke them, Hyunwoo. I'm not supposed to be able to do that. Humans aren't supposed to be that strong. Humans are exactly that strong. The galaxy just doesn't know it yet. He activated Nari's signal jammer and moved closer. Look, Director Minho has evidence that the guards planned this. They disabled the cameras deliberately. They took you somewhere isolated. This was premeditated assault. That doesn't change what I did. No, but it changes how the galaxy will see it. Self-defense versus murder. That's the difference. Hyunwoo pulled out a data pad. The Vrin High Command is demanding justice. They've given Earth 72 hours to produce you, or they'll consider it an act of war. Jiwoo's eyes widened. War? Over me? Over the principle. The Vrin can't accept that their warriors lost to a human. To a girl, it destroys everything they believe about themselves. Hyunwoo showed her the news feeds. But Director Minho has a plan. If you turn yourself in, face this properly, he thinks we can prove self-defense. Make this go away legally. And if it doesn't work, then we'll figure something else out. Hyunwoo reached out and took her hand. But hiding won't solve this. Eventually they'll find you, and when they do, they won't ask questions first. Jiwoo looked at their hands, then back at the stars. I never wanted this. I just wanted to learn. To see the galaxy. To make friends. I know. Now I'm the scary Deathworlder who broke 3 warriors with her bare hands. You're still my friend, Hyunwoo said quietly. That hasn't changed. She squeezed his hand, tears forming in her eyes. The station floated in the darkness of space like a massive jewel. Inside, thousands of alien students moved through corridors that stretched for miles. The Galactic Collegiate Institute was the most famous school in known space. Students came from hundreds of different worlds to learn here. But today something unusual was happening. A human was arriving. Jiwoo stepped off the transport ship and felt her stomach drop. The gravity was wrong. Everything felt too light, like she might float away if she moved too quickly. She grabbed the railing to steady herself and took a deep breath. The air tasted strange, too clean somehow. It made her nose itch. Around her, alien students stopped and stared. Some had 6 legs. Others had scales that changed color. A few floated without touching the ground at all. Jiwoo tried not to stare back, but it was hard. She had seen aliens on video feeds before, but being surrounded by them was completely different. "You must be the new human," a voice said behind her. Jiwoo turned and saw another human boy, maybe a year older than her. He had a friendly smile but tired eyes. "I'm Hyunwoo. I got here 3 months ago. Welcome to the easiest place in the galaxy to feel out of place." Jiwoo laughed despite her nervousness. "Is it always this light? I feel like I'm going to trip over my own feet." "You get used to it." "Kind of." Hyunwoo picked up one of her bags like it weighed nothing. On Earth, it would have been heavy. Here it felt like carrying air. "Come on. I'll show you to your quarters. And I'll give you the real tour, not the official one." As they walked through the station, Hyunwoo explained things quietly. The corridors were wide to accommodate species of all sizes. The walls were a soft blue color that supposedly calmed most species. Temperature was kept cool because hot-blooded species like humans were rare. Most aliens in the galaxy came from gentler worlds. Earth is classified as a Class 12 Deathworld, Hyunwoo said. That's basically the worst rating. Most species can't even imagine what our planet is like. The gravity would crush them. The bacteria would kill them. Even our sunlight is too strong. "So they think we're dangerous?" Jiwoo asked. "They think we're crazy for surviving there," Hyunwoo corrected. "Big difference. Dangerous is what the Vrin are." He pointed ahead where 3 massive figures stood near a checkpoint. They had to be almost 3 meters tall. Their bodies looked like they were covered in dark armor, but Jiwoo realized it was their actual skin. Thick plates overlapped across their chests and limbs. Their faces were angular and sharp with eyes that glowed a faint yellow. "Those are Vrin security guards," Hyunwoo whispered. "They're the station's police force. They come from a high-gravity world too, but nothing like Earth. They're warriors, basically. Every kid here is terrified of them." Jiwoo watched as a small, furry alien student nervously showed identification to one of the guards. The Vrin barely looked at it before waving the student through. There was something cold about them. Mechanical almost. "Have they ever hurt anyone?" Jiwoo asked. "Officially? No, unofficially?" Hyunwoo shrugged. "There are stories. But humans are new here, so we don't know much. Just stay out of their way and you'll be fine." Her quarters were small but comfortable. A bed, a desk, a screen for accessing station information. Through the window, she could see stars stretching forever in all directions. Jiwoo sat on the bed and felt homesick already. Everything smelled wrong here. Sounded wrong. Even her own body felt wrong in the low gravity. "Classes start tomorrow," Hyunwoo said. "Try to keep your head down for the first few weeks. Some of the species here think humans are primitive. Others are just curious. Either way, attention isn't great." But keeping her head down proved impossible. In her first class, she was the only human among 40 students. The instructor, a floating jellyfish-like creature, kept asking her questions about Earth's environment. The other students whispered and pointed. During break, a group of them surrounded her, asking if it was true that Earth had storms that could destroy buildings. If humans really ate the flesh of other animals, if their world really had active volcanoes and earthquakes, Jiwoo answered as politely as she could, but she felt like an exhibit in a zoo. The cafeteria was worse. The food dispensers offered meals for hundreds of species, but finding something a human could actually digest took forever. She finally settled on something that tasted like bland protein paste and found a seat in the corner. That's when she noticed them watching her. 3 students from a species Hyunwoo had called Deltarians. They looked like they were made of colored crystal, reflecting light in rainbow patterns. They were beautiful but moved with an arrogance that made Jiwoo uncomfortable. One of them, larger than the others, kept staring at her with what might have been contempt. She tried to ignore them and focus on her meal. But then the large Deltarian stood and walked toward her table. His 2 friends followed, their crystalline feet clicking on the floor. "You're the Deathworlder," he said. His voice came through a translator device, emotionless and flat. "From the toxic planet. I'm from Earth, yes, Jiwoo said carefully. Your species was granted council membership only 3 cycles ago. You barely have space travel, yet here you sit eating beside your betters. He leaned closer. Tell me, Primitive, can your kind even understand the lessons here? Or are you just here for show? Jiwoo felt heat rising in her face. I'm here to learn, same as everyone else. Doubtful. The Deltarian picked up a container of liquid from his tray. It was bright green and steaming slightly. Perhaps you should return to your savage world before you embarrass yourself further. He tilted the container. Jiwoo saw what was about to happen and moved without thinking. Her hand shot out and grabbed his wrist. The container stopped inches from her face. The cafeteria went silent. The Deltarian's crystal structure made a cracking sound. Jiwoo looked down and saw a thin fracture line running up his wrist where she had grabbed him. She hadn't meant to squeeze that hard. She let go immediately, but the damage was done. You attacked me. The Deltarian stepped back, holding his wrist. Everyone saw. The human attacked me. I didn't, Jiwoo started to say, but alarms were already blaring. 3 Vryn guards appeared so quickly it seemed impossible. They must have been nearby, waiting. The largest one grabbed Jiwoo's arm with a clawed hand. Pain shot through her shoulder. Student Jiwoo, you are under detention for physical assault, the guard's translator announced. Come with us now. Wait, he was trying to... Jiwoo tried to explain. Silence. Another guard grabbed her other arm. Their claws dug into her skin. Resistance will result in additional charges. Hyunwoo pushed through the crowd. She was defending herself. Check the cameras. The third guard stepped in front of him, blocking his path. Interference with security is also a violation. Stand down, human. They dragged Jiwoo toward the exit. She tried to walk normally, but their grip was too tight. Her arms were already going numb. Students pressed against the walls to let them pass, watching with wide eyes or whatever they had instead of eyes. The guards pulled her into a corridor she didn't recognize. The walls here were darker, older. Fewer lights. She saw a sign that said Corridor 7 Delta before they turned a corner. Where are we going? Jiwoo asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Isn't detention near the administrative section? The guards didn't answer. Their claws dug deeper. They entered a section where the lights flickered. Jiwoo noticed something strange. No cameras. Every other part of the station had security cameras in the corners. Here there was nothing. Deathworlders think they're special, one guard said. His voice was different now, not coming through the translator but from his actual mouth. It sounded like grinding metal. Think they can come here and break our students. Need to learn respect. Fear bloomed in Jiwoo's chest. Real fear. I didn't break anyone. It was an accident. Vryn don't have accidents, another guard said. And neither should you. Time for a lesson, little human. Time to see if Deathworlders break like everyone else. The corridor ended at a maintenance area. No windows. No cameras. No witnesses. The guards threw her against the wall. Jiwoo's vision blurred from the impact. She tried to get up, but one of them put a massive foot on her chest, pinning her down. Please, she whispered. Don't. The largest guard activated something on his arm, a weapon. Energy crackled along its length. This won't take long, he said. Because when Jiwoo was ready, when she decided to come out of hiding, he wanted to be ready to. Jiwoo sat in the darkness of the maintenance tunnel, her back against the cold metal wall. Her hands were still shaking. They had been shaking for 6 hours now, ever since she had stumbled into this forgotten section of the station. She pulled her knees to her chest and tried to breathe slowly. She didn't want to think about what happened. But she couldn't stop thinking about it. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw it all again. The corridor. The guards. The weapon charging up. And then everything had gone wrong. She pressed her hands against her face, trying to block out the memories. But they came anyway, flooding back in fragments that felt too real. The largest guard had raised his weapon. Energy crackled along its length, purple and bright in the dim corridor. Jiwoo had been on the ground, one boot pressing down on her chest so hard she could barely breathe. This won't take long, the guard had said. And something inside Jiwoo had snapped. Not her body, not her bones. Something deeper. Something primitive that lived in the oldest part of her brain. The part that still remembered when humans were prey, and the world was full of things with teeth. Her biology teacher back on Earth had explained it once. The fight-or-flight response. When humans were in danger, Their bodies released chemicals that made them faster, stronger, more focused. Adrenaline, cortisol, endorphins. Ancient survival mechanisms from a world where hesitation meant death. But the teacher had never explained what it felt like. Time had seemed to slow down. Jiwoo could see individual particles of dust floating in the air. Could hear her own heartbeat like thunder in her ears. The guard's weapon moved toward her in what felt like slow motion. Her hand shot up and grabbed the weapon. She didn't plan it. Didn't think about it. Her body just moved. The weapon was hot, almost burning her palm. But she held on. The guard's eyes widened in surprise. He tried to pull it back. Jiwoo pulled harder. The weapon snapped, just broke in half like a dry stick. Everything sped back up to normal. The guard stumbled backward, staring at his broken weapon. The other two guards moved toward her. Jiwoo scrambled to her feet. "Stay back," she had said, but her voice sounded wrong. Too high, too scared, they didn't stay back. One lunged at her with claws extended. Jiwoo's body moved again before her mind could catch up. She twisted sideways, grabbed his arm, and used his own momentum to slam him into the wall. The impact left a dent in the metal. She stared at the dent. At the guard sliding down to the floor. That should not have been possible. She weighed maybe 50 kilograms. He weighed at least twice that and was wearing armor. "Impossible," the largest guard growled. "You're just a soft skin, a weak species from a primitive world." But his yellow eyes showed something Jiwoo had never seen in a Vryn before. Fear. The third guard activated his weapon and swung at her. Jiwoo ducked under it, grabbed a pipe from the wall that was barely attached and yanked it free. The metal bent in her hands. On Earth, with normal gravity, she never could have done that. But here, in the station's low gravity, her muscles built for Earth's crushing weight made her something else entirely. She was strong here. Terrifyingly strong. The fight had become a blur. The guards kept coming, kept attacking. And Jiwoo kept reacting. Not thinking, just surviving. She didn't want to hurt them. Didn't want any of this. But every time one of them got close, her body defended itself with brutal efficiency. A clawed hand reached for her throat. She broke the wrist a plasma baton swung at her head. She caught it, ripped it free, threw it down the corridor. A boot tried to sweep her legs. She jumped over it, kicked out, sent the guard crashing into his companion. Her human biology teacher had mentioned something else. When the fight-or-flight response activated, the body shut down unnecessary functions. Memory formation, complex reasoning, social inhibitions. The conscious mind took a backseat. The animal took over. Jiwoo barely remembered the middle part of the fight. Just flashes. The sound of armor cracking. The smell of their blood, which was wrong, alien, made her nauseous. The feeling of her own fists impacting again and again. When clarity returned, all three guards were on the ground. Breathing but unconscious. Their armor was cracked and torn. One guard's arm was bent at an unnatural angle. Another had a gash across his chest where a piece of armor had broken and cut him. Jiwoo had stood there, shaking, staring at what she had done. Her knuckles were bleeding. Her shoulders ached. But she was alive. She had won. And that terrified her more than losing would have. She had checked their injuries as best she could. They were alive. Hurt but alive. She could hear their breathing, see their chests rising and falling. Relief flooded through her, followed immediately by panic. What now? How could she explain this? She was supposed to be a student. Just a regular girl from Earth who wanted to learn. Now she was standing in a corridor with 3 trained warriors lying broken around her. Her brain started working again, pushing through the fading adrenaline. The cameras had been disabled, but they might come back on. She couldn't be found here. The station had emergency medical systems. She had seen them during orientation. Automated stretchers that responded to distress signals. Her shaking hands had found the emergency call button on one guard's armor and pressed it. A medical alert would bring help. The guards would be found and treated, but she couldn't be here when that happened. Jiwoo had grabbed their broken armor pieces, thrown them in the waste recycler. Tried to hide the evidence. Then she had run, taking service tunnels and maintenance passages, moving through parts of the station most students never saw. She had found this place hours ago, an old storage area deep in the industrial sector. The air here was thicker, the gravity slightly higher. Settings designed for visiting Deathworld species, which meant most station inhabitants avoided it. Perfect for hiding. Now she sat in the dark trying to understand what had happened, what she had become in that corridor. Her personal device showed dozens of missed calls, messages from Hyunwoo, alerts from the administration, news feeds reporting that she was missing, that security was searching for her. They would think she was a victim, that the guards had done something terrible to her. That was better than the truth. Better than them knowing what she had done. Jiwoo pulled up the station network, accessing it through an anonymous connection. She needed to know what the official story was. What people were saying. The news feeds were everywhere. Human student missing. 3 Vrin guards also missing. Station in lockdown. Theories everywhere. Some said it was a kidnapping. Others suggested the guards had gone rogue. A few conspiracy theories claimed it was all staged. No one suggested what actually happened. That the small human girl had fought 3 professional warriors and won. Why would they? It sounded impossible, but it wasn't impossible. Jiwoo looked at her hands, which had finally stopped shaking. These hands had broken Vrin armor, had bent metal pipes, had defeated beings that the entire galaxy respected and feared. Her device showed a new message. From Director Minho at the Earth Embassy. Wherever you are, whatever happened, come to the embassy. We will protect you. She almost laughed. Protect her? She didn't need protection. The guards had needed protection from her. That thought made her feel sick. She wasn't a warrior. Wasn't a fighter. She was just a kid who wanted to study and make friends and see the galaxy. But the galaxy had pushed her, cornered her, tried to hurt her. And her body, shaped by millions of years of evolution on a world that tried to kill everything on it, had responded the only way it knew how. Jiwoo thought about Earth, about the storms that could flatten cities, the earthquakes that split the ground, the animals with claws and teeth and venom, the bacteria that could kill in days, the temperatures that ranged from freezing to boiling, the gravity that crushed and compressed everything. Humans had survived all of that, not by being lucky, by being tougher than everything trying to kill them, by adapting, by fighting back. The galaxy didn't understand. They looked at humans and saw primitives who barely had space travel. Soft creatures from a harsh world. They didn't see the truth. Humans weren't weak survivors. They were apex predators wearing civilized masks. And in that corridor, when those guards decided to hurt her, Jiwoo's mask had slipped. She pulled up the medical feeds, hacking through weak security, found the report she was looking for. 3 Vrin guards found in Corridor 7 Delta. Multiple injuries. Stable condition. Being treated in the secure medical wing. Alive. They were alive. That was what mattered. She had hurt them but hadn't killed them. That had to mean something. Her device buzzed. A message from Hyunwoo appeared. She almost ignored it, but curiosity won. I know you're out there. I know you're okay. Whatever happened, I don't care. Just stay safe. I'll cover for you as long as I can. Tears burned Jiwoo's eyes. At least someone believed in her. Even without knowing what she had done, she typed a response. Simple. Brief. Don't look for me. They learned. Then she deleted the message history and powered down her device. The station's security could track it if she kept it on too long. Jiwoo stood up, stretching muscles that ached from the fight and from sitting in one position too long. She needed food, water, a plan. This section of the station had supplies meant for Deathworld visitors. She found emergency rations, protein bars that... What if I can't control it? What if it happens again? Then we'll deal with it. Tojiwoo and Hyunwoo burst through the embassy doors, just as Vrin soldiers rounded the corner behind them. Director Minho was waiting, and the moment they crossed the threshold, he activated the security field. A shimmer of energy appeared across the doorway, blocking entry. High Commander Vrath arrived seconds later, his massive form filling the corridor. His eyes blazed with fury as he stared through the energy barrier at Jiwoo. That human is wanted for assault on Vrin warriors, he growled. Surrender her immediately. This is Earth diplomatic territory, Director Minho said calmly. You have no authority here. If you want her, you'll need to go through proper legal channels. There are no legal channels for Deathworld savages who attack their betters. Careful. Commander. Director Minho's voice went cold. You're speaking to a representative of a Galactic Council member species. Insult humans again and I'll file a formal complaint that will tie your high command in bureaucracy for years. Vrath's hand went to his weapon, but he didn't draw it. Starting a firefight with an embassy would cause a diplomatic disaster. Instead, he leaned closer to the barrier. This solves nothing. The girl will face justice. One way or another. Then let's do it the right way, Director Minho said. A proper trial. Evidence. Witnesses. Let the council decide. Vrath stared at him for a long moment, then turned and marched away, his soldiers following. Director Minho waited until they were gone before deactivating the barrier and turning to Jiwoo. Are you hurt? No, sir. Jiwoo's voice shook slightly. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We just traded one problem for another. He gestured for them to follow him deeper into the embassy. The Vryn won't accept a normal trial. They're demanding something called trial by testimony. It's an old tradition from their culture. In the conference room, Director Minho pulled up documents on the main screen. Hyunwoo and Jiwoo sat down while Nari joined them, having arrived through a different entrance. Trial by testimony, Director Minho explained, is essentially trial by combat. The accused faces a champion chosen by the accuser. If the accused wins, they're declared innocent. If they lose, well, there's no appeals process. That's barbaric, Nari said. It's legal under Galactic Council law for species that still practice it. The Vryn are one of the few who do. Director Minho looked at Jiwoo. They'll choose their best warrior. Someone who won't make the same mistakes those guards made. So I have to fight again. Jiwoo felt hollow inside. Or Earth gets expelled from the council. There might be another way. I've been arguing legal precedents, human rights, the fact that you're a minor by Earth standards. Director Minho rubbed his eyes. But the Vryn have political allies. Species who don't want humans in the council. They're using this as an excuse to push us out. How long do we have? Hyunwoo asked. The council convenes tomorrow. If we don't have a resolution by then, they vote on Earth's membership status. Director Minho pulled up another screen showing voting predictions. It's close, too close. Jiwoo stood up and walked to the window. Outside she could see the Vryn warship, dark and menacing against the stars. Somewhere on that ship warriors were probably training, preparing to face her if she accepted the trial. I'll do it, she said quietly. Jiwoo, no, Hyunwoo started. I'll accept the trial by testimony. She turned to face them. It's the only way this ends. If I refuse, Earth loses everything. If I run, I'm running forever. But if I face their champion and win, it's over. Everyone moves on, and if you lose? Nari asked. Then at least I tried. Jiwoo managed a small smile. Besides, I already beat 3 of them. What's one more? Director Minho studied her for a long moment. You're very brave. Or very stupid. Maybe both. He pulled up more documents. If you're serious about this, we need to prepare. The trial will be broadcast across the galaxy. Millions will watch. And the Vryn will choose their absolute best. Over the next 18 hours, Jiwoo trained. Nari analyzed every recorded fight involving Vryn warriors, looking for patterns and weaknesses. Hyunwoo helped Jiwoo practice moving in different gravity settings, using the embassy's small gym that could adjust conditions. Director Minho worked on the political side, negotiating terms for the trial. Location, rules, medical support, everything. The Vryn's champion was announced 8 hours before the trial. Commander Vextheral, a legend among his people. He had fought in 20 major campaigns and won personal combat against warriors from a dozen different species. He was bigger than the guards Jiwoo had fought, stronger, faster, and he had decades of experience. He's never lost, Nari said, scrolling through his combat record. Ever. In 40 years of service. Everyone loses eventually, Jiwoo said, trying to sound confident. The night before the trial, she couldn't sleep. She lay in the embassy guest quarters, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that had led to this moment. A month ago, she had been excited about going to space. Now she was about to fight for Earth's place in galactic society. Hyunwoo knocked and entered without waiting for an answer. He sat on the edge of her bed. Can't sleep either? He asked, terrified honestly. Jiwoo sat up. What if I lose? What if I let everyone down? You won't. You don't know that. I know you survived 3 trained warriors when they ambushed you. I know you're stronger and faster than they expect. I know you're smart enough to be scared, which means you'll be careful. Hyunwoo smiled. And I know that humans don't give up, ever. It's kind of our thing. Being stubborn, being survivors. He stood. Get some rest. Tomorrow, show them what humans are really made of. The trial was held in the station's main arena, a huge space normally used for sporting events. But today, the seats were filled with representatives from hundreds of species. The Galactic Council sat in special boxes watching everything. Cameras captured every angle, broadcasting to billions across known space. Jiwoo entered from one side wearing simple training clothes. No armor, no weapons, just herself. The crowd murmured when they saw her. She looked so small, so young. A child, really. From the opposite entrance, Commander Vex Thurl emerged. He was massive, nearly 3 meters tall, covered in dark armor that looked like it could withstand explosions. He carried a plasma lance and had combat shields mounted on his arms. He looked like war itself given physical form. The crowd went silent. A council adjudicator floated down to the center of the arena. It was a being of pure energy, contained in a crystalline shell. Its voice echoed through the space. This trial will determine the fate of human Jiwoo in the matter of assault against Vryn security personnel. The accuser has chosen trial by testimony. Combat will continue until one participant yields or is unable to continue. Lethal force is permitted but not required. Do both parties accept these terms? I accept, Vex Thurl said, his voice amplified across the arena. Jiwoo's mouth was dry. Her heart pounded. Every instinct told her to run. But she thought about Earth, about Hyunwoo and Nari and Director Minho, about every human trying to make a place in the galaxy. I accept, she said. The adjudicator rose back up to safety. Then let the trial begin. Vex Thurl activated his lance. Energy crackled along its length, bright and deadly. He began walking toward Jiwoo, each step deliberate and confident. This was a warrior who had never known defeat. Jiwoo backed up, her mind racing. She couldn't just react like before. Couldn't let instinct take over. She needed to think, to plan. Vex was bigger and stronger and more experienced. But he was also wearing heavy armor and low gravity. That had to count for something. He lunged forward with surprising speed, lance stabbing toward her chest. Jiwoo threw herself sideways, rolled, came up in a crouch. The crowd gasped. She was fast, faster than they expected. Vex spun, shields up, and charged. Jiwoo ran, using the arena's walls to push off and change direction. He was fast, but she was faster. The armor that protected him also weighed him down. He swung the lance in a wide arc. Jiwoo ducked under it, came up inside his reach and struck at his knee joint where the armor was thinnest. Her fist connected with a solid thunk. Vex grunted but didn't fall. He backhanded her with his shield. The impact sent Jiwoo flying across the arena. She hit the ground hard, vision blurring. Pain exploded through her ribs. That would have killed a normal person. Should have killed her, but she was from Earth, and Earth didn't raise anything weak. Jiwoo stood up. Blood ran from her nose. Her side screamed in agony. But she stood, the crowd roared. They had never seen anything like this. A small human girl taking a hit that should have ended the fight and getting back up. Vex seemed surprised too. He adjusted his stance, taking this more seriously now. You're tougher than you look, human. Good. I would hate for this to be too easy. He came at her again, but this time Jiwoo was ready. She had learned something important. She couldn't match his strength directly. Couldn't trade blows with a warrior in full armor. But she could move in ways he couldn't. Could bend and twist and flow like water around stone. Her biology teacher's voice echoed in her mind. Humans were pursuit predators. They didn't win by being the strongest. They won by being relentless, by outlasting, by never giving up. So Jiwoo ran, not away but in circles around him, making him turn and chase and waste energy. His armor was heavy. Every movement cost him strength. Meanwhile, her body,